Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I first wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who's been wishing me well. I am indeed feeling much better than I was yesterday. Still not 100%, dealing with some other issues, but overall much better than yesterday. So just thank you all so very much for all of your kind words, for reaching out to me, offering me health advice on various things to take. So just thank you so very much. Still not 100%, but I still have exciting news that is motivating me to do a video, and it is all about Alita Battle Angel. So if you have not figured this out by now, this channel, I am a huge fan of Alita Battle Angel. I went into this film not expecting a lot. Let me just give you a little bit of a preface. You've been following me, you've been following my live streams, people who are asking me, hey, are you going to go see Alita? Hey, what are your thoughts on Alita? And before I saw the movie, I said, I do not think I'm going to like this film. The eyes of Alita bother me so much. The CGI looks like it's going to be really bad. All these other things, I just had no interest in seeing it whatsoever. I finally decided to go see it because everyone just kept telling me, no, Odin, trust me, it's good, it's great, it's so much better. There's no identity politics in it. It's actually really good. And so, sure enough, I decided to go see it. I saw it on the biggest screen that I could. I saw it on a Dolby screen, 3D, the whole works, and I loved it. I fell absolutely head over heels in love with it because it just not only looked beautiful, including those huge eyes, which work with the character, work with the story that's being told, but also just everything else about it. Everything else about the story just worked. And it's great that you have visual effects, but it's even better when you have visual effects and a story and a character arc that just works and you just fall in love with over the course of the film. You fall in love with this character and you want to see more of this character in previous, in following films. And the film sets up for a sequel, and I am just hoping with all hope that this indeed does make enough money to merit a sequel. And based on these early numbers coming out of China, it looks like this indeed will be a film that will merit a sequel. So as I've said before, we were waiting for this day to come. Now, we don't have official numbers as far as the overall total for China yet. However, things are looking pretty damn good so far. So as you see from Deadline, it says Alita Battle Angel wings to $20 million China Friday. So on $20 million just on the Friday box office alone, and it eyes a $60 million plus Middle Kingdom bow, meaning that this film is looking to make between $50 and $60 million just in China for its opening weekend, which I think is very good. Now, is it astronomical? Is it record-breaking? No. However, it is still very good nonetheless. And as I said before, all this needs to do is perform well enough in China and in Japan and in all of the other markets it has not opened in yet, and that foreign total will very much be able to bring it up to the point where it'll be profitable, where it'll indeed start to make money. And if this film continues over this week and next week to bring in the money and also has a strong second weekend showing domestically, I think we're going to see a film that's going to easily break $100 million here domestically, which I know some people say, oh, that's kind of a crazy number. What if it doesn't do that? Again, is there a chance it doesn't break $100 million here in the United States? It is definitely still possible, but I think there are enough people now who, at least from watching my channel, it's amazing, and it's so cool to see all of these people who are in the comments saying, hey, I had no interest in seeing this film before, but because of your recommendation, I'm going to see it. Or the people that, even better, the people who said, I saw that of your recommendation, and thank you so much for recommending it. I think that seeing that, and also the fact that it's been doing well. It's been #1, I think almost every single day this week at the box office, which isn't saying much, but still, $1 million every single day over time is going to build up. And also, I think that more people are going to see it this weekend than maybe they thought previously. Now, of course, this is all speculation at this point because we do have How to Train Your Dragon 3 coming out this weekend, which looks like it's going to do very well. It's getting very good reviews. The How to Train Your Dragon films have done very well beforehand, so that is most likely going to be taking the place as the #1 movie. However, if Alita can be a strong second place contender, if Alita can turn out those Dolby 3Ds, those IMAX 3Ds, those just general, regular, Real D 3D screenings, and also just other people going to see the regular showings, I think that it could end up, outperforming the previous projections. Last weekend alone, it making over $40 million domestically was already outperforming the numbers that they had previously. So at this point, $100 million is not totally out of reach. And if it does reach that $100 million mark, and if it can make around $350 million foreign, I think that's definitely possible, especially with these numbers coming out of China. That is all that it needs in order to break even. As I've said before, the $430 million mark is its break-even number. When you take its $170 million production budget, add on top of that marketing, and add on top of that, it only makes 60% of the entire box office gross. Now, some people are trying to say, oh, but it only makes 30% of this number. It only makes 50% of this number. The reason why 60% is oftentimes given as the rule of thumb within the industry is because that is the average of all of the various marketings and all the various things that it takes. So when we say that it takes 60%, that any film, that any studio takes 60% of its total box office take, we mean that as on average, meaning that is the average take that it'll end up with, and therefore that is why it is oftentimes a number given. Some people say, I don't really understand these percentages. Imagine that a film on paper is said to have made $1 billion. The studio only sees 60% of that because the rest is given to the actual exhibitors, given to the AMCs, the Regals, all the actual movie theater chains themselves that charge a certain amount in order to be able to have those theaters, or rather to have those movies featured in their theaters. Now they charge, or rather they get more money the longer that a movie is out. So normally what you see happen is that a studio will get around 90% of the entire box office total on the opening weekend. However, that drops off tremendously as you go from week to week to week. And eventually, if a film is still out long term because of the contracts that they make, they get significantly less, meaning that eventually at some point, if a film is a breakout success and is bringing in a lot of money 4 or 5 weeks down the road, most of that money starts going to the theater rather than to the studios themselves. On top of that, foreign markets are very different. The way that they work those deals out, the numbers end up being very different. So that's why 60% is usually is a pretty good indicator, or rather is the best overall average that we can think of. So if this film makes $430 million overall, 60% of that would mean that it would make up its $170 million plus the marketing budget on top of that. So I think that this number is looking very, very good for Alita, and I am so freaking happy. And it looks like we are indeed going to get, hopefully, again, obviously we need to have the people behind this movie to be able to confirm this for sure, but it looks like we're getting in the position where they're going to be able to financially be able to justify making themselves a sequel. So let's just go into the actual text itself. So Fox Lightstorm's Alita Battle Angel took to fight to China today with an estimated $19.8 million opening Friday, which includes a $1 million in limited Thursday midnights. An opening in the $50 million zone had been expected, then buzz increased this week. With Friday's start, the full frame is now looking at a 3-day upwards of $60 million. The international box office total of Alita is at $115 million through Thursday, and its worldwide is $163.7. This does not include China. That is very good. So that means if you include China, if you indeed add that $60 million to it, you're looking at a film that's already going to be around $220 million. That's only after one weekend being in China and also in Japan. It's also opening up in other markets, and also I think is going to be opening up in at least a couple more markets as the weeks go by. So in my mind, this means some very, very good news for Alita Battle Angel going forward. Just to break this down for you, so as you can see, boxofficemojo.com is not the most up-to-date. The most up-to-date number that we have is indeed $163.7 million. Box Office Mojo gets the numbers a little bit slower, but also tries to be a little bit more accurate with its numbers as well. And so at this point in time, according to them, it's around $150 million. So assume that's $163.7 million. And you understand that this film is indeed well on the way. It's $47 million domestically. I think that you're going to see, as far as a week 1 to week 2 drop, hopefully, because the hype has really grown, because channels like mine and many others have been really hyping up this film and saying, go see this movie. Hopefully that brings enough people out this weekend, because not only did I have people saying, oh, I'm going to see it this week, but also a lot of people saying, hey, I cannot wait to buy a ticket to see that on Friday or on Saturday. And I would say this, if you have seen this film already and you want to support it again, go during the weekend. Help those weekend numbers. Seriously, it's going to make a big difference. If you have not seen this movie yet, go see it. Think about it. If you have the money to be able to afford to go see it in theaters. This is a movie that should be seen in theaters, and this is a movie that deserves love. You know, especially in the discussion that we're having today, and you have all these crazy, crazy people saying, you can't compare Alita to Captain Marvel, to Wonder Woman, all these other things. Yes, you can. If a movie is not the same as any other movie, you can compare it to any other movie. That is just the very basis of film criticism in general. Alita Battle Angel is a wonderful film with a wonderful character, beautiful character arc, and also a great story behind it as well. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but Alita Battle Angel gave like actual prosthetic arms to an individual. Like I just want to look up the story and really just show it, because I think it is just so important. I think that it is just so incredible what they were able to do. So yeah, they give bionic arms to a young amputee. This is incredible. The creators of Alita. And like, there's the girl right there, and look at that. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. You know, what do you have on the other side? What do you have with the Captain Marvels? Oh, well, you know, we're trying to raise money so that way we can send people to go see our movie, so that way we get money out of it. Isn't that great? And instead, they're gifting bionic arms. bionic arms. This is seriously, this is the future right here, and this is what they're doing. This is incredible. This is an amazing, and even if it's just for PR, even if it's just for positive buzz, hey, it's good job, because this is doing well. On top of that, look at who you have here. You have here, what was her last name? Salazar, Rosa Salazar, who just kicks ass in this movie. Seriously, even though it's motion capture, she is able to get her performance across. And I would say any actor that's able to do that, and I put this woman in the same category as, looking into the person that did Gollum and the person that, Andy Serkis. I put her on the same level as Andy Serkis, who did Gollum, who also did the work for the Caesar trilogy, for Planet of the Apes' most recent trilogy. She's on that level. She is that damn good. She is a hero. She is a hero. She's not just a female hero. She is a hero that any person can look up to. And I think that her being alongside this girl, giving them bionic arms, seriously, come on. Absolutely amazing. The fact that not only do you have these really good numbers coming out of China, but now you have even Ben Mendelsohn himself, someone who was writing this film off as of like a week and a half ago, among many other people, is now saying China might turn Alita Battle Angel into a box office Wonder Woman. Oh, yes, indeed. And didn't I predict this? Seriously, go back to watch my videos. I predicted that as soon as these numbers from China started to come out, all of a sudden you would have all of the media shills start to come out and say, oh, Alita Battle Angel's actually probably going to be successful. Let's talk about it. It's amazing that all of you just didn't see all of this beforehand. All of you were looking at the domestic total saying, this is a bomb. Oh, this is a box office bomb. It's bombing so hard. Forgetting that this is an international film, that this is a film that's going to be released in a variety of locations, including locations where mangas and live adaptations of mangas are going to do significantly better than in the United States. We had a very good idea that Alita was not going to do well with American audiences because American audiences like a certain type of film and aren't drawn to certain types of films, unlike China or unlike Japan. And yet, most people with a brain could, follow the numbers and look to numbers of previous films and say, hey, let's wait till China comes out to actually finally make an official word on this. But even Scott Mendelsohn, our boy Scotty Boy, is finally coming in saying, hey, this might actually turn into a Wonder Woman. It might actually do very, very well. According to him, this actually, according to the normal estimate, if Alita follows normal trends, if Alita does normal numbers, you're looking at around $143 million cumulative in China. If you add on top of that the fact it is doing extremely well in the other parts that exist in the world, and also that it's likely going to do well in Japan, what you see is you're looking at around 300 million plus for the foreign market. Now, how do I get that number? Well, China, for a big box office success or for a big budget film, normally accounts for around a third of the entire box office take. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But let's assume that it's around a third of the entire box office take, because it is indeed doing well in other parts of the world. Again, I've shown this before when you look at the foreign numbers. It's already made $103.9 million everywhere else. It is now just released in China and also in Japan, of which numbers we'll be getting very soon. However, it's made 2 million already in Australia. It's made 1 million in Brazil, 3 million in Indonesia, 4 million in both Malaysia and Mexico. Someone was reaching out to me from Malaysia saying, dude, check out the Malaysian numbers. It's doing extremely well there, and that seems to be an indicator of that. It's made 6 million in Russia, 6 million in Taiwan, 14 million in South Korea. South Korea, this movie is doing so well. 14.7 million there and 7 million in the UK. If it continues to do well in all of these other countries, add on top of that the China release and the Japan release, you're looking at by the end of this weekend, this will be over $200 million worldwide. I would say that if you look at the domestic total, it probably will be closer to around 70. Let's say it makes around 30 million this weekend, which I think is a little bit, some people would say it would be a little bit of a stretch, but let's just assume. Let's assume that it gets more outreach because more people are going to see it, because more channels are pushing for it. More channels are saying this is a really good film. It's getting good PR. It's getting a lot of, it's now getting a lot of buzz across the seas. Maybe it's going to lead more people to go out and see it. Let's say it makes around $30 million. Well, at that point, you're looking at this film being around $270 million in total after this weekend alone. Now, that would be quite impressive. And also, that would mean that, remember, their usual rule of thumb, movies tend to make 60% of their entire box office take in the first 2 weekends. If that is indeed the case, and if 270 is 60% of the entire box office gross, you're looking at a film that is indeed going to at least break even. And I would say, because I honestly think the China numbers and the other foreign numbers are going to do bonkers for this, to the point where I honestly think my prediction is that the film is going to round out closer to around $400 million when you look at the foreign market. I think that that is probably going to be where it ends up foreign-wise, is around $400 million. If it is able to just keep on producing even just bare minimum numbers in the United States, to the point where maybe it gets to $100 million or close to $100 million, you're looking at a film that is indeed going to be profitable and is definitely going to justify a sequel. Guys, if you have not seen this film yet, go support it. Even if you're not a James Cameron fan, I hate Avatar. Seriously, you're talking to somebody who hates Avatar, who hates the fact there's going to be 5 more Avatar films, who hates the effects of Avatar, hates the 3D of Avatar, hates the fact that 3D became a thing after Avatar. And yet, I love this movie. I think the 3D was fantastic. The effects were gorgeous. The effects were beautiful. And also on top of that, you've got an amazing story on top of it as well. You have an actual real-life hero doing real-life heroic things. While currently on the MCU side of things, trying to get a bunch of underprivileged women to go see your movie, which gives you money in the process, apparently, is more heroic. No. This is heroism. This is true heroism. And this is, again, beyond gender. This is just heroism for the sake of being heroism. This is an amazing movie. This is a film that is likely going to make a crap ton of money in China and other places. Scott says, hey, it could even do better than what we expect also. So this number could be even higher. It could be even closer to $200 million in China alone, which would mean closer to $600 million worldwide. I'm not going to go that far. Again, I think $400 million in that foreign market is more likely. But you're looking at a film that is doing extremely well in China. Numbers from Japan haven't even come out yet. It's not going to be, China numbers. China is obviously a much bigger market, but Japan is still going to show up for this film too. And I honestly think this is indeed a film that is going to make money at the box office and give us a sequel. And guys, jump on the train now while it's hot, because I don't want you to be one of those people saying, man, I should have seen this on the big screen. I should have seen this in 3D. I should have seen this in theaters. Go see it now. It's great. It's making money. And Scotty boy, thank you for proving me right once again. Because you're going to see a hell of a lot more articles saying, oh my gosh, Alita. Oh my gosh, Alita. Oh my gosh, Alita. You're a week behind, bud. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like this video, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And again, thank you so much for all of the kind words as I continue to heal. I'm about to go pass out and rest for the rest of my day. So anyway, guys, have a great one. And as always, God bless.